Hi artists, welcome back to art class with Mrs. Hopkins, and today for our final lesson for distance learning this year, we're going to be drawing a tiki. So yes, you get to make your own tiki face with our lesson today. You only need a few supplies. I'm going to show you what those are. I'm going to show you a couple really cool tricks that you can use this summer to do all kinds of drawing projects. So we're going to use some prior knowledge for this lesson, and we're going to learn a few new tricks. So the first thing you're going to need is you'll need a piece of paper. You will need a pencil, and I strongly recommend a crayon. Black crayon is what I will be using, but you could just keep your pencil. So pencil and paper that you really need, but the crayon is very helpful. I will be using the crayon as well. Our objective says I can use symmetry to draw a tiki face. So that is our objective. We're going to learn how to draw a tiki today. So I've got my materials, and I'm going to go ahead and go to my demo mode. I'm going to switch over the cameras so you can see exactly what we're going to be doing. So you've got your paper, and our first step for making our tiki face today is going to be folding your paper in half. Now, because I want a very long face, I'm going to start with my paper vertical, and I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half, hot dog style. Make sure you press that fold, and you're going to go ahead and open it back up. And I want you guys to find your line of symmetry. That's right down the center of our fold. So after you found your line of symmetry, you're going to grab your pencil, and we're going to draw our tiki today. So our tiki, we only ever have to draw half of him. So we're going to be drawing on the same side of the paper. And for me, because I'm a right-handed art teacher, I'm going to draw on this side. If you're a lefty, you might want to draw on the other side. I got some smudge on my paper, no worries. So we're only going to draw half of our tiki, like I said. And then I'm going to show you a really cool trick using symmetry to get the other side exactly the same, and it's going to be a tracing trick. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide how far down I want his head to start. I want to leave some space at the top, so I'm going to draw half of his head over here. I start at the line of symmetry, and I go out almost to the edge of the paper. And this is just the side of my tiki's face. I want it to be kind of a wavy line. I'm going to go down, and I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom of the paper, but I'm going to end it on the line of symmetry. Okay, so this is half of my tiki. That means that one half of this is here, and the other half will appear on the other side later, after I show you my really cool trick. The next thing I'm going to start with is my tiki's mouth, and I'm going to go with a big mouth, but remember, it's half the mouth. So it's going to be a big, crazy smile with some lips. And you know what? Why not some teeth? Okay. I need to have a nose and an eye because tiki faces do have eyes and they have a nose. So we need to have all those things. Okay, so there's half of a nose. That means that I'm using my line of symmetry. I always start on my line of symmetry and end on it for the other half. It's going to appear later. It's going to be like magic. You're going to be so impressed. So then I'm going to draw only one eye because we'll be able to make the other one appear later. If you want to do a pupil, you can. I'm going to jazz up the eye with some different lines. Maybe I'll do a double. Pretty cool, huh? So you get to have a little fun with this. And I'm going to put pictures in of different tikis to get you guys really inspired. But Mrs. Hopkins is going to keep it pretty simple today. I'm going to stick with some geometric designs. So one thing I'm going to draw is a line at the top of the head. And I'm going to just do a zigzag pattern of little triangles. Okay, so that's one of the designs I'm going to put on him today. And also, maybe some stripes, maybe like a double stripe, and I could repeat that triangle pattern if I wanted. Now, anything that I do to this side, I'm going to be able to do the other side with that cool trick I will show you. Also, I think that, you know, he needs to be kind of a royal tiki. So we're gonna draw a nice crown of leaves, but I'm only drawing half a leaf on the line of symmetry. The rest of them, I'll draw the full leaf. And I'm pressing pretty hard with my pencil so you guys can see. But remember, when you're practicing your art, you don't have to press so hard with your pencil. So anything else that you want to have on this side that you want to appear on the other side, you would draw now. So take a look at these pictures, get inspired, and add half of your tiki. Make sure you take your time, and then I'm going to show you the trick to make your half on this side appear on this side. So check out these pictures. Okay, so I promised you guys a trick. And remember, our objective said that you guys can use symmetry to draw the tiki face. So that's what we're gonna do. And remember, we have our line of symmetry here, but we have to get this tiki face on this side of the paper. So one of the things that we're gonna be doing is we're gonna take our black crayon and we're gonna be tracing the entire tiki. I'm just gonna start with the outside of it first. Okay, so I have a kind of bumpy surface, so don't worry if you have a little bumpy surface, it's not gonna bother it. I'm just gonna trace the outside line with my black crayon to show you this trick first. Notice I'm pressing pretty hard with my black crayon. I'm going over things like 2 times, sometimes 3 times. I wanna make sure it's really dark. It has to be a crayon or this trick will not work. Now, do you remember when I said if you didn't have a crayon, you could just do that with a pencil? You could do this with a pencil, but you have to press really hard and make that outline very dark. Okay, so here's the trick. All you're gonna do is fold it over. That's it. And you should be able to see, like I can see with my light just shining down on my table, I can see the outline of the crayon. If you can't see your crayon, you can make it darker, or you can check out what I've got here. This is called a light table, and this is just a mini light table. But look, you can see Mrs. Hopkins has just closed the paper, but you can see the crayon, right? So here's what I'm gonna show you. You probably don't have a light table at home, but I'm still gonna use this. You probably have something else, like a window. I'm gonna show you how the light table works. It's basically like a window with the sun shining through. I'm going to use my pencil. See how I've started drawing this line down here? I'm drawing on the back of the paper, but I'm staying on the crayon line. So the pencil is pushing all the crayon through to the other side of my drawing. It's going to make the other side of my tiki face for me. I'm just tracing it. Okay, so I'm gonna move it off the light table. You can see I've just traced this line. And I know I traced the right line because I was able to see the crayon. When I open it up, you can see that my pencil helped push the crayon marks into the other side. So that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna show you a trick how to do it on a window. It works exactly the same as my light table that I have, but you probably don't have a light table at home, so the window is definitely for you. All right guys, so I told you I would show you that trick. You don't have a light table at home, but I'm sure you have a window. And if you have a sliding glass door like we have, it's a big flat surface. It's the perfect place to try this trick. So again, I'm just going to pick a spot and trace with my crayon. So I'm just gonna do his eye real quick. Just gonna do one spot. I'm tracing it really dark. Okay, see how I've just traced that eye? Okay, putting my crayon down, I'm closing it, and I'm going to the side where I can see. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay it up on the window, and oh wow, look, I can see right here, that's where the crayon was traced. So I take my sharp pencil, and I'm just going to press into that. And the pressure of your pencil is gonna push your crayon through to make your symmetrical eye show up on the other side. So boom, your very own light table. You have one at home, AKA a window. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all my tracings real quick. I'll do a fast video, and you guys just take your time, and I'll see you in a minute. Students, so at this point you should have your tiki all drawn out. Now remember, we use symmetry to help us do this. You can probably still see your fold line. Okay, when I fold it, you can see where all the parts line up. And if you learned how to use a light table or window, okay, in Florida we usually have lots of sunshine, so it's a really cool way for you to learn how to do tracing. If you have a drawing and you want to transfer it onto another piece of paper, that's how you could do it. And it's just one technique. Now these tikis look fine in black and white, but you know, I'm definitely going to add some color. So one way that we do that in the art room is I color over it with crayon, and then I do some watercolor on top. So that's one way to do it. It's totally up to you. If you want to make it exactly like mine, all you're going to do is crinkle it up. That's right, I said crinkle it up, because we want to make these tikis look really old. And that's why it's okay if you had some lines that were a little bit messed up. Like maybe your black line got a little crooked, it's okay. So we're gonna make these tikis look really old. I just noticed one of the lines that I forgot to trace right here. I'll make this one a little bit darker too. So I'm gonna make this tiki look really old. I'm going to color it before I do that. So I'm gonna color it with some crayon. I'm gonna crinkle, 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 and then I'm gonna smooth, smooth, smooth. And my last tip will be putting a little bit of watercolor on it to make it look old. And I'm pretty sure I have some black or dark brown watercolor paint I can put on it. But if you don't wanna crinkle your tiki to give it that look, you don't have to, but I think it looks pretty cool. It does soften your paper, so if you're using a lined paper, maybe you don't want to crinkle it, but I have some thick kind of construction paper and it can handle some crinkles. So the only reason I'm going to do it is to make it look really old and worn down, like it's been out maybe on a beach somewhere, lots of wind and rain and sun bearing down on it. So we're just going to make it look a little bit older. If you want, you can even rip the edges of your paper too to make it look extra old. So I'm going to go ahead and color my tiki now. I'm going to do all of this on the sped up camera, so color, crinkle, and then I'm going to add a little bit of paint onto that too. And I'll talk to you about it when I'm all done. So I'm just smoothing out my last few wrinkles, and I know it might seem like the worst idea ever to crinkle it up, but it gives it a really cool aged look. It makes your paper look like, wow, this has been around for a long time. And it gives me a chance to tell you about another type of art called batik. Now, batik is usually when you take a piece of fabric and you dye it, but we want to show some designs on the fabric, so they pour wax on the fabric into certain designs and patterns, and they dip it in dye. And when they dry it out, the wax comes off and there's beautiful patterns left over. It's kind of like tie-dyeing, except you're not using rubber bands. So I'm just going to use a little bit of black watercolor paint, and I'm going to paint over top of this whole thing. And what it's going to do is it's going to fill in the cracks that my paper created when I was crinkling it. And it just kind of soaks into the white space that's left over from the crayon. So if there was any white paper showing through. I colored my crayon really thick, so I shouldn't have much of this. And I'm just painting on the space of the tiki and the crayon. I'm not painting in the white background. And you can see on this side where it's starting to soak in through the cracks, it really helps it look very old and really cool. Like maybe it's been around the campfire for a long time and it's seen a lot of luau's. So we're aging them up with this technique. So it kind of will look like a piece of batik fabric when we're all finished, but we're using paper and watercolors, not just regular wax and dye for shirts. So I'm just brushing this part on, kind of just going over all the waxy crayon parts. Like I said, I got the crayon on really thick, so I was able to not have the black watercolor just cover it completely. So it definitely makes it look like something special. When this thing is dry, it will definitely look great on your wall. Fourth grade has been doing a project just like this for years and years, and it's a big hit. If you don't like the white background, feel free to cut your tiki out and put it somewhere else. You could put it on any color paper that you want, but I'm gonna leave mine just like that. So you've seen some examples of different tikis. I can't wait to see you guys what you come up with. Remember, if you just want to color it with crayon and skip the crinkling part, that's fine. You can color it with marker. You can do whatever you want as far as adding color. You could paint the whole thing and skip the crayon part. But it's totally up to you. This is our last project for this year, so I hope you guys really do a great job with it. All right, boys and girls, so that's it. That's your tiki project. If you finished all the steps, you should be able to say, I can use symmetry to draw a tiki face, so you mastered your objective. And that's our last project for the school year. So I will see most of you guys next year, 5th grade. If this was your last project in art, I want you to know I am so proud of you. I hope you have a wonderful summer, and I know you're gonna do awesome things in middle school. If you're going to a new school next year, kindergarten through 4th grade, I enjoyed my time with you very much. I know you're gonna do great things. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tiki, and make sure you send me a photo of it. I would love to see your face with your tiki face. You can be cheesing like your tiki. I thought it would be a great project to bring us into summer. So send me those photos of your art. You can put them into your project when you upload them, or just send them with an email. Make sure you attach your name to the email so I know who I'm getting it from, or just, put your face next to it. I had a great time with you in art class this year, and I hope you guys have a fantastic summer. If you check my YouTube page, there's lots of projects on there. If you need more art, keep checking. I might have time to post some new projects. I always add things to playlists, so if you're on my YouTube this summer, check it out. Keep making art, and I hope you guys have an awesome summer and a great next year. Bye!